Hello and welcome. This is Project Healing Waters, Fayetteville, North Carolina program, and today's fly is the remake of the polar shrimp. I had posted a video, but of the timberline, the polar shrimp, and then the moth fly, and I just wasn't happy with them, so I'm going to redo it, and hopefully this will be better. The material for the polar shrimp is it's a salmon fly. Here's the name of it, size. I'm not even going to try the name. And then we're using 8/0 black thread. For the body, we are using orange chenille. We're going to use a ribbing to make sure the chenille stays, and that is fine wire, extra small silver. For the tail and for the bottom part of the fly here, gills, you can call it whatever you want, but we are going to just use one strand of Chinese strung saddle hackle. And then for the wing here, we are going to be using calf tail. If you don't have calf tail or can't get a hold of it, you can use propylene yarn as well. The saddle hackle is red, and the calf tail is white, if you can't see it clear enough in the video. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to seat our hook. And let's go ahead, and if you use these hooks, you'll see that they've got two parts coming up here, and I usually start about an eye length in front of where the separation is. So let's get our thread in and secure the tag, and then remove it. And then we're going to bring this all the way in, bring it down. You don't need touching wraps or overlapping wraps. I meant you can use spacing wraps, but it doesn't matter if it overlaps or not, because we're going to be covering this up with chenille. You just don't want to do too many to have it too bulgy. So right there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our hackle, and we're going to remove the bottom portion of this. It's not needed. And we just want to get rid of all the fuzzy stuff. And that looks good. And you want to do it on both sides. And that's what you should be looking at right there. Go ahead and trim this up. We don't need all this. So essentially what we want to do is we want to take about a pinch of one side, and we are going to remove it. And then you want to put it in the other hand, and you want to see how far you want it hanging off the back. Right about there. Looks good to me. So I'm going to pinch it with my other hand, and we are going to cinch it on top. Once you get that first one in, I like to bring it backwards, and I find that tends to keep it cinched down on top of the shank of the hook. And that works really, really good. And so now what we want to do is grab our fine wire. And we're going to put that in right there as well, right where it's tied in. And then we're just going to wrap all this forward. Then you can bring your other hand up just to make sure that hackle stays down. You'll have some kind of stuff poking out, but no big deal, because the chenille is definitely going to bring it down, cinch it down on the shank of the hook. So let's go ahead and bring our thread back. And while we were tying it forward, we're just securing our wire. So now let's grab our little piece of chenille, and when you get it, it comes with the ends like this and like this. Essentially what we want to do is expose the core. So we're going to take, I don't know if I can do it too well on here, but we're going to take our fingernails and just rip off the orange piece. And then what you're left with is this. That's the core of the chenille. I'm going to rip off a little bit more. So we have a good place to tie. So essentially what we're doing is we're just taking the chenille, we're going to put it, get a wrap around the shank of the hook, and then I'm going to find out where it's at. And that looks good to me, so I'm just going to wrap it back. And we want to do pretty good tight wraps here, so it does not come loose from the back end. You do have the metal wire there, but last thing you want is a long strip of chenille hanging off the back of your fly. And so then we're just going to bring the thread, once you get it secured, just bring the thread to the starting point. And if you do buy these salmon hooks that have the two different edges, what we want to do is just kind of build a taper up to the section. Like so, and then stop where you started. Now what we want to do is we want to take our chenille, make sure our hackle is out of the way, and we want to wrap it forward with touching wraps. See how the hackle just cinches down? And just bring it forward to your starting point. Don't want to bring it all the way to the eye of the hook because we got a lot of work that's going on top there. And just secure it with several wraps, and then you come in here with your scissors and remove the remainder. And I see some stuff underneath there, so I'm just going to cinch that down too. Okay. So now we're going to take our ultra wire and go opposite direction with spacing wraps. We'll wrap this forward a couple times. Then I'm going to bring it back and wrap it back. Okay. And so now we're just going to try to helicopter this off. I try to give it a good several turns, but sometimes it'll go underneath there. And it's kind of difficult to do this, but I do have my, I don't have those out. I do. So I didn't get the correct tools out for this, so bear with me. I'll just try to helicopter it off. It doesn't matter how long it takes. So essentially we're just trying to keep it on top of the shank of the hook, and we're just going to helicopter it until it pops off. For some reason, I tend to drop a little bit when I'm doing this on camera, and it gets below the shank of the hook and wraps around the fly. So there's really not much space to be toying with this. And so I'll just take. All right. Ended up using my good scissors to cut it, but oh well. They only last so long. So now what we want to do is we want to grab the remaining part of our saddle hackle, and we're going to tie that into the front of the fly, right in front of the chenille. So make sure it's nice and tight. Bring it up forward a little bit. And then let's go ahead and remove the stem. And let's bring our thread forward. So now we're going to take the hackle and wrap it several times around the shank of the hook. It would help if I had hackle pliers. Okay, I'm going to bring out the hackle pliers. I don't like these things, but they too tend to make things easier. I think it's the fact that my old hackle pliers weren't very good, so they were a real pain to mess with. So we just want these with close wraps, and we're just going to force all the fibers backwards. And I think that's pretty good. Like 3 or 4 wraps is good. And once we get that, we don't want that. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. Put some wraps in it to secure it. After that, we can remove it from the shank of the hook. Don't worry about these fibers going forward. We're going to be pushing all this stuff backwards. And you're still left with a bunch of saddle hackles, so definitely don't throw it away. You can use it on another tail or a different fly. And some of these. Okay, so now what we want to do, essentially, we're going to be taking these fibers and split them down the middle of the shank, and you want to kind of do it evenly. There, right there. Okay, so I found about where it's going to be medium. Then we want to wet our fingers and grab these fibers and bring them down, and then bring them down and then kind of point them backwards. And then I am going to wrap them, bring the thread reps back. Like so. Try not to pinch your finger. Okay, and that looks like it's doing pretty well. This is a little longer than I want, but it'll be alright. So now I'm just going to come through and just fill this up a little bit more. Alright. And then you can come back and put some more wraps in to secure it. But there we go. I kind of like that. So now what we want to do is we want to grab our calf tail. And we're just doing a small little pinch off of this stuff. Don't need much. This is about as much as we're using. Small little pinch. And I'm going to put it on top of the fly to see how it's going to look. And that's about where I like. That looks good. So we'll switch hands. We'll pinch it and cinch it on top of the shank. And wrap backwards several times to secure it. Make sure it stays on top of the shank of the hook. And then we're going to wrap forwards. Now what we need to do is grab all these fibers and remove them carefully. It's alright if you got a couple stragglers. We're going to build up this head anyway. Okay, so it looks pretty good. So let's just take our thread and cinch the remaining part of this down. And this is where we're going to build up the head, because we have a huge gap in between here. Not a huge gap, but a gap in between here and here. So now what we want to do is build up the head of the fly to where it looks uniform with the front of the fly. So we're just going to wrap until we can get these thread wraps, the black wraps, comfortably in front, and then just taper them up and taper them back down. I think that looks pretty good. Yep. So now what? Let's just take our whip finish. And let's remove the remaining thread. And here's our polar shrimp. If you have any questions that we can answer for you, certainly hit us up in the comment section. Certainly hit the like and the share button. That would certainly help out the channel a little bit to promote Healing Waters. I'm going to trim a little bit off the back. And this is Fayetteville, North Carolina, Project Healing Waters program. And this is the fly that we did last month. And I'm remaking the video just because it's just the first video's bugging me. Appreciate you watching. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments, please share with us and let us know if we're doing some good work for you, for our veterans. If there's anything we can certainly change, I will take any kind of advice. I don't claim to be the best fly tyer. I'm actually reverse that. But I'm not here making a living out of it. I'm just here to help our veterans. Thank you very much. This is Project Healing Waters, Fayetteville, North Carolina, signing off.